Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. It is Labor Day, Monday, September 7th. I am Joe Sarvati, affectionately known as Coach, and I am joined, as usual, by the man, the myth, the legend himself, the DFS guru, Mr. Andrew Hansen. How are you, Andrew?
Good, Coach. Thank you very much, and happy Labor Day to everybody. I hope you're having a great weekend. We are back for some more basketball action here, and excited to, help you with the diversion. And it's a big Monday in sports, big Labor Day with hoops and baseball, the end of golf. So, we're just wrapping up the Sunday night NBA slate, talking about that Lakers-Houston game. And speaking of work, I'm still a little bit surprised that Houston didn't play down to the wire. They gave up with, 35 seconds to go or so, down 8. They don't foul. And, you can foul LeBron. He might miss 2. You go down and hit a 3. You're down 5 with about 25 seconds left. You play the foul game, the 3 game. There's no better team in the NBA to foul, get steals, hit threes, and make that sort of comeback than Houston. We had some nice game stacks on DraftKings that cashed, but they could have cashed a lot higher if we'd gotten some more fantasy points there right at the end.
It was hard to believe. If you watch the last 4 minutes and 22 seconds when they came back from that timeout, Houston sort of quit after that. They missed a couple of shots. They didn't foul, not just that last time, but 2 or 3 times. I thought they gave up too quick. I agree with you. And it was frustrating from the DFS standpoint because, it's so packed and tight in 2-game slates like that, 4 or 5 points moves you, 20, 30 positions right in a GPP. So it was pretty bizarre, but, it's been unpredictable. There's no question. We've continued to win, which is great. We did take a loss in our hot streak of FanDuel hybrid, and it is what it is. We still have our heads above that 80% mark, but we're going to have to win this slate on Labor Day here in order to stay above that magic number. So I'm fired up. It was an interesting day for sure, but I think tomorrow, we've got one piece of news, and we'll just talk about that first before we even jump in the slate, because it does its domino effect for the entire slate. And I just read before we jumped on the pod here that the Joker with a sprained wrist is truly questionable, literally a 50-50. They're going to see how he does tomorrow and in warm-ups. And we're probably not going to know that until 20 minutes before lock, 30 minutes before lock, if he's going to roll. And it domino affects your entire slate because, the whole build switches whether you for me, if he sits, I'm going to defer to Plumlee because I believe that he's the veteran. He'll get the, decent minutes. He's a good DFS points per game. Now, you were talking about, before we jumped on, about some other possibilities, because we might as well talk those through before we get into the slate. So what are you thinking there?
It's a monster situation. And before we even get into the specifics, I just want to mention a general strategy piece that because this is the second game of the slate,
right?
We're not going to have it before the first game. Hopefully we'll have it before 9 o'clock Eastern. We don't get the Porzingis situation. Hopefully we know he's either in or out before that game so we can make pivots. But, because he's such a huge domino and he's so expensive and it's only a 2-game slate, and because he's in the second game, I think it's smart to approach this slate with a little more caution and really build 2 lineups. Build a lineup of if Jokic plays and there's not this extreme value in the second game, and build another one, and then, decide what you want to do, how much of each you want to play, and what your plan is to pivot. If you build one with Jokic and you go with it, how are you going to pivot? So just be very pay very close attention to where you have your guys in the positions. Make sure Jokic, for example, would be in the utility spot. on DraftKings, so you can swap him out to any other expensive player. But this is certainly a major piece of news. So, with that being said, if he is not playing, I do think Plumlee is the biggest beneficiary overall. I'll have plenty of exposure to him. The thing I just don't know is if he'll start or not, and it may not make a huge difference because I do think he'll get a bump in minutes. And if Plumlee's 24 minutes or more, like you said, he's great points per minute. So I think he's a tremendous play. He's cheap on both sites. But we could also have some value for some of the guys way at the end of the bench. We may have, more minutes for guys like Craig and Porter, but we may even, I mean, the question for me is, do we have one more extreme value play behind Plumlee? Some if they're going to play another guy, it has to be somebody like Noah Vonleh or Bol, who I can just predict you're not going to be excited about playing either one.
No.
Although Bol he's also tremendous points per minute.
How about no?
Yeah. Because Plumlee is so cheap, you probably don't have to go to one of those guys. But
I think what they do is they bump down, like you had mentioned, and I agree with you. Like they may even run Millsap a little bit at the 5 or Jeremy Grant, or, just play basically with, 2 power forwards in there.
Right.
I think that would be more realistic and they may do that. Now, again, that's if he sits. The biggest question, though, that I have is, where does all that usage go? Everything runs through him. I mean,
right.
The whole offense. So, they've been, really doing a good job on Jamal Murray and, keeping him at least, intact. But somebody's going to have to pick that up, because there's 2 scenarios. First of all, we have to find out about the Joker first. So, like you mentioned, the perfect strategy, if we don't know after, before the first game goes, you got to leave that spot and then, know what you're going to do if he's ruled in or out. Secondly, it does create, if it's looking more like he's not going to play, I think you need to play more guys in the first game, because there is a good chance that the Clippers blow them out. It's going to be hard for them to stick with them without the Joker. And then the third piece, if you do want to try to find some Denver value that's going to pick up some of that usage, one of the guys may just burst out. It could be Jeremy Grant. It could be Michael Porter Jr., Gary Harris. There's going to be a lot of guys that go from single-digit usage that pop up and become in play. So, keep that all into consideration. We wanted to start off by mentioning that because it does shape the entire slate for sure. All right, we're going to dive into both of these games. And before we do, I want to thank our 2 presenting sponsors, mybookie.ag. It is the place to go for all your sports wagering and casino action. And also tvg.com, which is the place to go for horse racing. You can sign up with either one of them on our website, dfscoachtalk.com. Use the promo code CoachTalk, no space, all one word, and MyBookie will match up to $1,000 of your first deposit. And TVG.com is still offering a $300 risk-free bet if you jump on there. Follow us. No time is more important to follow us tomorrow throughout the day, because it's not until evening. We've got both evening games. So all morning, all afternoon, we're going to be hunting down any information we can on the Joker's ability to play or not. And, we'll be following that closely. We will post some things on Twitter. You can find any of us at DFS Coach Talk. You can find me at Joe Sarvadi, JoeSarvadi. Andrew is at Language Olympic, and Shane is at DET Sports Shane. Best way to really follow us close, get in the discussion with us, get in there with all our pros and our terrific members in our Discord at DFS Coach Talk. You can jump in with a membership, even if it's a week membership, you want to give us a try. It is the place where you'll find all our information and our lineups. I'm getting so choked up about this. And our lineups, excuse me, that'll be posted 30 minutes before post. I'm a horses, not post, before tip.
The
is
Derby
what
was
I'm trying to
Saturday.
say.
It's Monday now.
Yes, and I did have the exact Stone Cold I gave you.
Yes, you
Let's
did.
$10 exacta box, and I even
Yep.
mentioned it's number 17 and number 18. I didn't want you to think I was crazy, but
Yep.
it came in. So
Yes,
there
it
you
did.
go. All right, man. We're ready to attack this, is all I can say. Let's do this. We'll change it up a little bit. Uh, why don't you just read the information real quickly on our fall special? Let's knock that out now and let everybody know because tomorrow's important to be in Discord. This might be the perfect time to join.
Yeah, absolutely. Jump in on the holiday here where you have the extra 10 minutes to sign up and get to know us a little bit. It is an exciting time in daily fantasy with the NFL coming back. And so because of that, we set up the fall special, gives you a discount on the monthly price, and it takes you 4 months. So it takes you through the end of the calendar year. You get all the football season. You get the rest of the NBA playoffs, MLB, which we do every day, and PGA lineups once a week. And then, of course, we'll get the next NBA season started within that period in December. So it's wall to wall coverage here. Every slate we give you a cash lineup on FanDuel and a GPP lineup, and then we give you on DraftKings the coach's clipboard with
Yeah.
core plays and pivots. And for NFL, we're going to do every slate, the main slate on both sites, and then also the showdown slates. And sometimes we give out showdown lineups in the NBA. We did it tonight on FanDuel for the second game, and that lineup cashed easily. So we do that as well. We'll throw that into for our members sometimes when people ask. So anyway, you get all that for only $1.99, and you get all access to every sport. So the difference for us is you get every sport for one price, and you get actual lineups on FanDuel every day. So go to dfscoachtalk.com and you can join us as a member.
I couldn't have said it better myself. All right, we're into the games. It's all basketball. Here we go. First game tomorrow, 6:30 Eastern. The fantastic series of Boston and Toronto. Boston is a 1-point favorite, and the ever shrinking over under is down to 212. So that's interesting. The other game is 219. So we're 7 points below, and we'll expect that line maybe to change a little depending on the Joker's presence or not. I will mention that Clippers are favored by 9 in that other game. So that doesn't give you a lot of confidence that the Joker is going to play. I don't think it'd be quite that big. But all right, we're going to attack Boston and Toronto. We expect a fantastic game. We've gone to the bank so much riding these Toronto guys because we knew they had to win. Well, guess what? It's 2 games all. Their main guys have played 1 billion minutes to get these last 2 games. So what's the strategy here? Because, does it shift, or do we ride the horse that got us here with our Derby theme today?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I like your point a few minutes ago about the Joker. And if he misses, it's not just about creating value, but it's also, the thought that if that game could be a blowout, then we do want more exposure to this game.
Right.
And, it's just a matter of timing it right, because the first game of this 2-game slate of these series, when the slate was these 2 matchups, I was on Jokic and he didn't play well. And then the second time around, I was all about stacking Boston, Toronto, but then Denver actually wins and Jokic plays well. And now we don't know if he's going to play. So I just want to see if we can hit it right this time.
Yeah.
And so if Jokic is healthy, I'm thinking a little bit more of a balanced approach between the 2 games. The price tags in the first game are just creeping up just enough where it doesn't feel like it makes quite as much sense to get a full game stack, knowing that, overall it's probably going to be less fantasy points available in this game than the second one. I will still consider it, but to me, I'm looking at, maybe more like 2 guys on each side to really target. And, Lowry and Siakam, to me, they continue to get the minutes, the usage. Lowry has been phenomenal. And then Siakam, last game he put up over 42 fantasy points, and he
Yeah,
shot 2 of 13 on
that's
three
amazing.
pointers.
Yeah. It
So
helped that he never came out of the game in the
yeah,
second half, but
that
you're
does
right. I
help.
mean, he has not played well, and to get that many fantasy points and not play that well, I was thrilled because I put him in late, as one of the gut feeling he was going to step up, which I don't know if he really stepped up that much more than he just took up a lot of space on the court for a
Right.
long time.
Yeah, he just grinded it out. So, those two guys I like a lot. I'll have a
Yeah.
lot of exposure to them. Um, on the Boston side, you know, could this be a Marcus Smart day where he hasn't really had a monster game here yet, where he shoots well and gets a bunch of steals like we know that he can.
He's
I don't
such a dog, man.
Yeah,
I'm
I
telling you
know.
right now, if I had to put a starting five together in the playoffs, I think I'd have him on there. He does every irritant thing and
Yep,
push and rebound and get a hand on the ball. And I mean, what a dog. I would never want to go against him.
I
Always
know.
would want to be on his side.
And he's gotten so much better at shooting.
He
So,
really has.
he's attractive to me. Jaylen Brown is the next guy I'm looking at just because he's cheaper than Kemba and Tatum. And
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown is one of those guys that I watch a lot. I don't really trust him in general. I don't like a lot of the decisions he makes, charges, bad passes. And he didn't shoot well last game. And he, unlike Siakam, he didn't come close to value. He's not doing enough of the other stuff, but he's got to be extremely motivated, because the three-pointer was shot over him by OG, and then he has a down game, and he's so athletic. He can spike for 45 fantasy points. So
Yeah.
I'm looking at him, and I'm just, with the overall build he's fitting in a little bit easier than Kemba and Tatum. Um, so that's my overall thought so far. I'm really looking at more at those starters, those core guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to walk away from uh, some of these guys with how well they've played, and but I've got to think at some point here. I mean, it's 2-2, so it's a massively important game. Does Nurse really play these guys 48 minutes again, or
Yep,
they
I think he
actually play, I
does.
think 43, 45 minutes.
Yeah,
So he very well could. Now they've gone bonkers with Kyle Lowry's price. I mean, he's
hmm
up to 8,200 on DraftKings. I mean, I can't believe he's gone up that much.
and
And he's
92
92 on
on
FanDuel.
FanDuel.
He's $700 more than Jamal Murray, who
hmm
averaged like 50 for that
Right,
last series.
right.
So just mind bending to me. I think, they say, well, when a guy's priced to a certain extent, when is he finally priced out of my lineup? And I've had him every single game. I love the guy, but I can't pay $9,200 for him. I just can't. But by the way, have you seen, I don't think he can dunk. I know it's an odd point to
Ooh,
bring up. I don't know if he can, man. I've
yeah, it's
seen him go
funny.
hard to the basket, and he's a long ways from that rim.
It could be a situation where he can just basically dunk a tennis ball.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a dunk coming from Kyle. I just noticed that the other day when we were watching that, and he seemed to like sky as best as he could, and he
Right.
wasn't even by the rim. I
Yeah.
said to my son, I said, dude, I don't think he can jump. He can get up there. I don't even think he could goaltend if he tried. But anyway, so I'm talking trash on Lowry, so I'm sure he'll kill it. But yeah, he's going to price out for me. I'm going to stick with Van Vliet. I think he's still reasonable, and he's been so damn good and clutch. I'm with you on Siakam. I think even though he missed a lot of threes, he did seem a little more active, and he played with a little bit more confidence because he had literally been like just a lost soul out there for some of those games. Um, I've been preaching it the whole time. God bless him. Marc Gasol just does not look like he has the steam that he used to have. I mean, it's
Yeah.
tough getting old. Believe me, I know. And So, Ibaka is their key guy. I know he played wildly well in this last game, but, his price is still reasonable, 6,100 on FanDuel, 5,900. I think he'll be their main center in crunch time. So I think, you can't go wrong there. So really from the Toronto side, I'm looking at three guys pretty strongly here: Van Vliet, Siakam, and Ibaka. Just in player build and lineup build. I also believe that I'm going to stack this game. I don't feel good about the second game in the fact that I know Denver had a great comeback game. The Joker in or out, we've got to see what happens there. But if he doesn't play, or it's not a lower extremity, so if he plays and it's just a wrist that's, taped up and whatever, I think he'll still be effective. But I've got a feeling the Clippers are just a much better team. I think that they're going to play them well if they can keep Murray under control. And even though it's 7 points higher in the over/under, I'm not as comfortable with this game going down to the wire as I am the other game. And it's so incredibly important to get that last 6 minutes, except for in this last game today, where they didn't do a damn thing for the last 4 minutes. But that's a whole other thing. But generally, getting that last crunch time minutes is huge. And, specifically, for the key guys, because they're going to go, to the main guys down the stretch. So, jumping over to the Boston side, Tatum is always playable. He's he's by far their best player. 9,300 though, that's where you have to make the decision. Is that your pay up guy? If you're really going to go there, I'm planning on going there right now because I'm not going to play Murray or Jokic in the second game, and not real sure about Kawhi either. I know he's coming off a game where he didn't shoot the ball well, but again, if they lay it on him a little bit, I think that he, I don't think he'll quite make 5x with his high price. So that's what I'm looking initially with him. Tatum's probably going to make my lineup. The one interesting thing is, who do you prefer between Kemba at 8,000 on DraftKings and Jaylen Brown at 7,500? And then on FanDuel, you've got Kemba at 8,300 and Jaylen at 7,700. So he's $500-600 more for Kemba.
It's so tough, in general, basketball wise, it's Kemba, but fantasy wise, with Kemba being more expensive, and last game he only took 9 shots.
I know.
I probably just have to go with Jaylen Brown here, because he's cheaper and more likely to get out and get blocks and steals and not have to rely on scoring, although it's very important for him. But I lean Jaylen Brown here.
I agree. And I like having that Tatum and Brown 1-2 punch, because I think those are the two guys that are going to take all their big shots, plain and simple. In the fourth quarter in a close game, they kept going to Jaylen Brown. He was 0 for 9 from 3.
Yep.
You realize that?
And he finally hit a couple, yeah.
And then they kept going to him. And it was the fourth quarter. And he took the 10th, 11th, and 12th, and he made 2 of those last 3. So that tells me that, he's got monster green light. And there were some times where Tatum could have taken his man, and he kicked it to Jaylen, which shocked me. So that I wasn't real thrilled with that. I don't know why that took place, but if it was a strategic thing against a certain defense or not. But, I think for me, Tatum and Brown are going to be the guys that really are going to have to step up. And I again, Kemba's solid, but, he's got to face that tough, hard-nosed, defense from Lowry, taking 8 million charges and everything else. Now, there's 2 value guys I want to mention in this game, because I'm spending a lot of time on this game, because I believe probably 6 out of 8 and on DraftKings will come from this game for me, and 7 of 9 on FanDuel. That's what my build is right now. I know it. It's risky, but I'm back in that scenario where I'm going to have to hang on in the second game, and it's worked okay. Sometimes it doesn't. But here's the two guys that I want to just throw by, and I'd love to get your opinion on both of them. Well, I don't need your one opinion because you've already said it. I like Marcus Smart as well. I think that his price is fair. His minutes are going to be there, and I think he'll shoot the ball better than he did the last couple of games. I mean, just his percentages are higher than what he's done so far. And Van Vliet's been guarding him, and Van Vliet's a good defender, but he's not as strong as Lowry defensively. So I think Smart's a good place to go. Here's the wild card guy, and he has crushed people these first 2 games and cost people being in the money. Not me, I haven't played him, but I'm thinking that this is the time. Norman Powell. He is a tremendous basketball player. He doesn't get as much opportunity when it's, they have to win or be eliminated and Van Vliet and Lowry don't come off the floor. But I just feel like there's got to be some rotation from Nurse with these guys. And Powell has shown in the past when he's in there, he can score with the best of them. So he's only $4,000 on DraftKings. And on FanDuel, let's see, where is he? He is way down there. He's 4,300. Again, very cheap. I think the people, that played him one of the first 2 games are going to be so sour they won't touch him. I just think he's a great risky play for GPPs and might be my last guy in my cash games. Just what do you think?
I don't like him.
You don't like him?
I like him a lot in general, regular season, if one guy is out. But Nick Nurse is like banging us over the head with this, that everybody's playing over 40 minutes. The starters, other than Gasol, those key guys are playing 42 to 46 minutes, and nothing's going to change that. It's 3 games in a row, 13 minutes, 15 minutes, 19 minutes, 5 shots, 4 shots, 6 shots. I just don't think there's any reason to think that's going to change.
Summer is here, and sports are finally back, which can only mean one thing. It's time to get back, relax, and make some cash. Everyone has to start somewhere, which is why you want to get off on the right foot by choosing an established book like MyBookie.ag. With all the major sports seasons just around the corner, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. Dynamic betting lines and a simple-to-use platform make the process easier than it's ever been. Create your account in just a few easy steps. Deposit and begin placing your bets. Sign up now using promo code COACHTALK to get your deposit matched 100% all the way up to $1,000. Plus an extra $25 free play. That's promo code COACHTALK. Use it to score yourself an extra piece of the pie. With MyBookie, you bet, you win, and most importantly, when you win, you get paid.
Well, I think
it sounds to me like, you want to game stack it. You want to get one more guy in there. I think, regular season, it makes sense, but I just don't think it makes sense right now. It's 2-2. The only way it works is if somebody gets hurt. If Lowry or Van Vliet.
I really don't. I think that he's got to be realistic. And I think Powell gets 22 to 24 minutes in this game. I think he plays half the game. And you know why I think that? Do you know that they played the 3 of them together for a 9-minute stretch in the last game? Okay. So that tells you right now that, I think he'll get a good 10 to 12 minutes, like 1 quarter worth of play, backing up Lowry or Van Vliet. One of them's going to each take a time sitting. And then I think he'll get the other 10 minutes or so alongside the 2 of them. So I think if he gets 22 to 25 minutes at that low price, he's always going to get you 18, 20, 22 fantasy points. The guy is really good. It's not like he's a scrub coming off the bench. He can score it. I mean, if you look at, I know it was in the bubble time and, it didn't matter for them and everything, but just this stretch in the bubble alone, 29 points, 24 points, 17 points. And those weren't 40-minute games. He played 24 minutes and had 29 real points, 44.5 fantasy points, 22 minutes, 11 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. I just think, you got to go cheap somewhere. And to me, just knowing that there's no way, in my opinion, that both Van Vliet and Lowry go 46 minutes again. I think they go 41, but that leaves a gap of time. And I guarantee you, if Van Vliet or Lowry are not in the game, Powell's going to be in the game. So I feel better about it even now. I'm digging in.
Don't do it.
Let's go.
I just think something has to change. Like I said, if somebody gets hurt, then yes, he could win you a GPP. The only way I see it working out is if he comes off the bench, hits his first 3 shots, gets a couple freak rebounds, gets a freak steal, and gets a few extra minutes. But in the last 3 games, he has 1 rebound and 2 assists total. He's not doing anything. He's not scoring, and he's not doing anything else. It's just not his series. He's not getting the minutes. So I just don't think this is the right spot for him.
I think it changes. I think things change right now. I really do. I feel this is where he gets 20 plus fantasy points. In fact, I'm guaranteeing it. Like, have you been watching TNT? Charles Barkley? Yeah. I guarantee. So
his guarantees don't work out though.
I know. Barkley's hilarious. Those guys are so. I don't know why I watch it. It's like, when you drive by a car accident and you don't want to look, but you have to. I mean, half the stuff they say doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah.
But they're just hilarious. Yeah. It's just hilarious. All right. Anyway, so we disagree there. I've now convinced myself that this is my play, my link to taking something down. All right. Is that anything else in this game? Because this is like basically my whole day is on this game. So
let's go to game 2.
Game 2. It is, like I said, the 9 p.m. game. So it is 8 p.m. Central. Clippers -9, over under 219, 7 points higher. We know that the Joker is the question mark. So does this game stay close? Are you spending up on anybody here?
I think, for most of my lineups, the only guy I'll spend up for is Paul George. He fits in pretty well in that, not having to go above 9K. So I do like him. With Beverly still limited in minutes, I see the opportunity for Lou Williams again to get good run. So if this game stays close, I like those 2 guys. I like Harrell. Those 3 guys feed off each other along with Kawhi down the stretch in close games. So if Jokic is playing, I like those 3 guys. Probably not much else. I will say that I did have some shares of JaMychal Green when he went off last game, and he got 26 minutes, 25 fantasy points, only 3.6. So I think some folks will go back there. You could go back there. Yeah. I think he got some of those extra minutes because he was playing so well. It's not the worst play. On the Denver side, like you mentioned, Murray is cheaper than Lowry on FanDuel.
Hard to believe.
Which is hard to believe. I'm going to have to think about that some more because I do like playing him with Jokic, but I'm very, very hesitant to play Jokic even if we know he's in, he says he's feeling good. I mean, it's his right wrist. The guy's got such a smooth shot. If his right wrist is tight, that's just not good.
No.
Plain and simple. So I'm hesitant on those key Denver guys, even if Jokic is playing. But what I want to talk about really is if Jokic is out, as I've been thinking about this a little more, What I think there's a good chance they do is they put Porter Jr. back in the starting lineup
It
because
could.
they can run the pick and roll with Murray and Porter Jr. and
Absolutely.
have that threat with Porter who can also pop out and shoot threes, obviously. And
Yeah.
obviously he's big enough to go to the rim. I mean, I think that's the only way they have offense. And then what they'd have to do is, leave Plumlee to come off the bench, leave Craig to come off the bench and play a few extra minutes. Morris can be the regular backup point guard. I think that kind of keeps things intact and gives them a chance on offense. So I think Porter Jr. rises up a bunch for me if Jokic is out, and Plumlee rises up a little bit. But the nice thing about Porter is his price and the fact that he's a power forward on FanDuel. So I'm going to have plenty of exposure to him.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to give a full opinion on this game because we don't know what the Joker's going to do. And
Right.
It changes everything on both sides of the ball. I'll just say this. If the Joker is ruled out, I'm going to find a way to not take probably Tatum in the first game, and I'm going to take Jamal Murray. Because if you look up the numbers, I know he's been guarded well, and they're going to really hawk him. But the usage when the Joker is out, Murray's usage is almost ridiculous. It's like he's playing with, you and I and Shane and Lanny from one of our members. I mean, nobody gets the ball. I mean, it's
Right.
it's through the roof. So, if the Joker's out, even as a blocker, I mean, I don't see how you don't play Murray just automatically. And his price is fair. I mean, 8,500 is not bad. A guy dropped 50, 42, and 50. Wasn't that him or was it Mitchell? Was it him? 50, 40?
They both had 50 every game, it seemed like.
I think he had 50, 42, and 50, if I'm not mistaken.
That sounds like Murray.
Yeah, and so, you got to look there. Now, if the Joker's in and my game script is right, and it just, I'm not going strong in this game, but I do think there are some value plays. I know I play him every time. You never seem to mention him. You disrespect this poor guy. Sweet Lou Williams stepped up for me this last game, and he's only 5,100. I mean, he's down there with Marcus Morris and Zubac and Porter, Millsap, and Beverly. I mean, he just doesn't get respect, and his DFS points per minute is just badass. It has been forever, and I think you've got to consider him at that price. I'll tell you though, the guy I'm off of for the first time is I don't want any more part of this Montrezl Harrell, Zubac, and JaMychal Green and rotating all of them at bigs. It's way too painful to see who's going to get what, when, and how. So I'm just going to steer clear of that. I agree with you on the Porter call on Denver's side, specifically if Jokic is out, because he's going to get up 3 shots per minute. That guy, he's a gunner. The other guy, and think about this for a second. If the Joker sits and they do insert Porter, which they may do, the de facto center is really Paul Millsap.
Yep.
All those late rebounds that guys miss threes and everything that the Joker stands there and everybody else clears out, he just gets it. I think those will go to Millsap. You know what I mean? He'll be floating in that paint area. So he could be a good play as well.
He could. Grant already got 40 minutes last game. So it's not like he's going to get a lot of extra usage and time on the court.
That was the ceiling, no doubt about it.
Right. Millsap had 31 minutes.
Right.
So you could see him getting a few more.
Yeah.
Porter could certainly, he's going to get the biggest bump in minutes. And Plumlee as well. I think all 3 of those guys are in play, and Millsap might be the least popular of them. And
that's what I'm thinking.
He's the most talented all-around veteran of the 3. So I think he would be a solid play.
Yeah, I think he becomes in play, if that is the case. If the Joker plays and his wrist is bothering him, that's the other guarantee that you don't have is it going to happen like Giannis today? You got a guy playing injured, so if you roster him, you're taking a chance that he could tweak it. I mean, we talked about that on the podcast last night. is, do you spend top money on a guy like Giannis with the potential that he's playing injured and could go out? And that's exactly what happened. So we're back in the same scenario 24 hours later with the Joker. I mean, he's 9,400, second highest guy on the board to Kawhi on FanDuel, and he's probably right around the same thing on DraftKings.
Yeah, he's 97, so he's second behind Kawhi.
Yeah, same thing. So again, there's your situation. Do you trust the guy to get in there and spend that money? I think if you feel you're going to get a full game out of the Joker, if he's ruled in, I don't think his ownership's going to be that high, especially because all the people that got stung today with Giannis are going to be like, no way, I'm not taking that chance again.
Right.
So, I mean, you may get him at lower ownership than you've seen him at. Is he going to be effective with a bum wrist? That's the other issue. So, it's a crapshoot here. I'm not going to play the Joker at all either way, ruled in, ruled out, just too much uncertainty there. And, you've seen him in the past too. I mean, when he makes a decision like, I'm not going to shoot for a while, he doesn't shoot at all.
Oh, yeah.
Like he'll just spend like a half and just pass the ball or rebound it and not take any shots. It's weird, but that's what he does at times. So if it's bothering him or he feels he can be, sort of grab double teams and everything, get the ball to other people, I think he'll do that. So, I think he's a good fade either way tomorrow, even if you think you can, get him at lower ownership, and it's going to be lower than normal. But the question is, if you have a lesser Joker, even if he's not out, who does that elevate? And like we said, you got to make that decision, between Porter, Grant. I mean, Grant's going to be popular tomorrow. He really is, because he was a major go-to guy in that last game. He's a free agent this coming year, so this is money time for him. He shows out like he did in this last game through the playoffs. He's going to get one of those biggie contracts from somebody, big time. There were small rumors that the Mavericks were looking at him too, just so you know. Anyway, so yeah, Millsap I think's in that picture, and Porter too, and then Plumlee. Let's say Plumlee's going to be the starting center. I mean, 3,700 on FanDuel, and it's not like if you're sitting the Joker, there's a really great center that you just have to have. Nope. I mean, it's almost by default. We've been going cheap at center every game in this series. We've either been going, Tice or Williams, or, just trying to get value in that center spot. And there would be no better value than, if you can put Plumlee in there at almost minimum price. So that's why I have Boston, Toronto marked here. I wonder why they're not coming up. Here it is. Okay, so Plumlee is on DraftKings
3,300.
33. So man, that's dirt cheap. So that's the decision there, man, and it comes down to that news. So definitely follow us at DFS Coach Talk. Follow us on Twitter. Jump in Discord with us. That's the best way to get the information. If you're watching this right now on YouTube, please hit the thumbs up. Please subscribe. It's really a huge plus for us when you do that, and click the alarm button so you know when our podcast posts. We've been just going through the roof on podcast views in the last couple of weeks with the NBA playoffs, and we'd love to just continue that. So we keep this in front of the paywall 7 days a week, NBA podcast. We're going to do that into infinity and beyond, as they say. But we do need your support with thumbs up. If you're listening to us and it's on iTunes specific, click the 5 stars and give us a quick comment, and you're in our drawing then automatically for a 1-month membership that we draw at the end of every month. So jump in there, check us out. We're everywhere podcasts can be heard: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, iHeart. We are everywhere. Our sponsors, mybookie.ag and tvg.com. Don't forget them. Use the promo code CoachTalk, no space, one word. And our charity of choice, as always, mambaon3.org, MAMBAONTHREE.org. Awesome charity. All right, final words. Any advice other than I'm gonna go in the morning and get a Norman Powell Raptors jersey.
Yeah, just wear it because you're part of the team and you're going to be on the couch. You're not going to be in the game. You're going to be watching, so you'll be right at home. Just wear it, cheer for the other guys, Van Vliet and Siakam and Lowry out there doing their thing.
I'm posting every bucket in Discord. That's all I'm saying.
You won't have to waste much energy.
Ooh, challenge. Let's go. Anything else on the that on hoops?
No, jump in with us as a member if you're not already, because here we are. Let's see here, 17 and a half hours before the slate. We've already talked through all the scenarios, so we're going to have multiple lineups ready to go, and then we'll just finalize it half an hour before lock, and that's when we post it in the chat area for our members to be able to go and play on FanDuel. So jump in and join us.
Absolutely. We would love to have you. And, baseball tomorrow, so join us for that. There's a bunch of day games with Labor Day. Got some great baseball. And we've got the big golf sweat. This is the biggest golf sweat I've had this season with my lineup that I put in at the beginning of the week. So, I'll be rooting me on, man. I'm going to post it in Discord.
Okay.
And, I'm going to ride these guys tomorrow. We need a good day. I just got to get past your boy, Dustin Johnson, man. He's such a stud. I'm just hoping he has a little hiccup. That's all I need to just bust over the top. And hopefully we can take that down too.
Yeah, I have a lot more faith in Dustin Johnson than Norman Powell. So we'll see how the day turns out.
And we're button heads. This is the Labor Day challenge. It's Coach versus Andrew. So let us know out there which team you're on, who you're rooting for. No, we're on the same team. We both want to take it down for our members, and we will. We'll work together, even though we'll have some different lineups. But we will try to win all the way across the board. So we look forward to it. It's going to be a very fun Labor Day. Sports from wire to wire here. It's the fall. We're getting close. Football coming this week. Man, this is just great. It's awesome time.
It's fantastic.
No doubt. All right, bud, that's it. We are done for this wonderful podcast. Enjoy your Labor Day. Enjoy the sports. We look forward to catching up, getting to know you guys. Comment, even if you're not a member or not joining. Give us a comment on YouTube or shoot us some info on Twitter. We're happy to answer questions or, just chirp about different stuff. Basketball-wise. I know we have some Canadian members and some Raptors fans, so I need all the love from Team Canada. I'm going to even call Freddie Mills on you and get him rooting.
Ask him.
He'll be on the Norman Powell bandwagon with me.
All right, we'll see.
All right, my man. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And again, like always, we'll catch you again tomorrow when we look to crush it in DFS.